How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video I ranked the best players at each position in MLB The Show 25, so let's go ahead and get right into it. And I talked about it a little bit in my previous video, but we do have a brand new Legends and Flashback collection coming out, and it does mention collections as in plural, so real quick, just kind of wanted to talk about some predictions, or I think some players that could potentially be that collection reward. If we get multiple collections, then I guess it could be something similar to what Ramon Russell was hinting at the beginning of the year when the game very first came out. He talked about a cool Papa Bell 99 overall Negro League collection, so that could be it, along with maybe Babe Ruth. I think is the best option for that collection, but I also think it could be a pitcher in Randy Johnson. And then I think the least likely choice would be Griffey, but I could be wrong there. Now we're getting into some of the rankings. At number 6, we have Kyle Schwarber in terms of catchers. I still think that 92 overall Schwarber is a very good card. There's two other versions of Schwarber that you might want to use, but I think if you're looking for a catcher, you can't go wrong with that guy. We also have Jason Varitek, Adley Rutschman. I think Carlos Santana is a little bit better. I obviously have this card at P5, so that might be a little bit of a biased opinion as well. I think Will Smith is just slightly better than Carlos Santana. He's not a switch hitter, but the 125 contact versus both sides with really good power. He also has the pop time quirk, so that helps throw runners out. But number 1 catcher is Cal Raleigh. I think this card is incredible. He doesn't have like the best switch hitting swing in my opinion, but it is very good. I think Carlos Santana has the best swing in terms of the guys I listed. At first baseman, we have Ryan O'Hearn. Probably not a card that a ton of people are using, but I think first baseman is also the weakest position in the entire game right now. We got Frank Thomas at number 4. We got Mike Napoli at number 3. I didn't put this card for catching just because I wouldn't use this card at catcher. I would use him more at first base, especially if you don't have Lance Berkman. I think Lance Berkman's just a slightly better card because he is a switch hitter. I think that makes a huge difference in this game. And then number 1, Gil Hodges. He's been the number 1 first baseman throughout the entire year. I think he will be the number 1 first baseman unless we get that collection Babe Ruth, and he might be better at first, but Babe Ruth probably be a better DH because Gil Hodges has that diamond defense at first base. At second base, we got Jazz Chisholm, Bobby Grich. I don't really like either of those cards, but I do think they have good attributes. And I have Eli Willits ranked at number 11. This card is a 99 overall, and I have some lower overall cards ranked ahead of him just because I really do not like that Eli Willits swing. I put him on the list just because he's still a good card. If you're good with him, he would be much higher on this list, but his leg kick is completely terrible in this game. Just throws off the entire swing timing, and I would never use that card. I would much rather use somebody like Ellie De La Cruz, Willie Castro, even Brooks Lee, even though that card is terrible on defense. Brooks Lee has a great swing. Corey Seager is a card, and I kind of put a lot of these guys, these are like middle infielders together, right? So like you'll see some shortstops, you'll see some second basemen. The thing about shortstop is it's the most important position on the field other than center field. And then second base, you can pretty much put anybody that is a shortstop at second base out of position, and they play just fine. However, late in the game, I would have some type of replacement, maybe like Ellie De La Cruz, a shortstop or third baseman, or maybe someone like Brooks Lee that plays all three, and then you can kind of move them around. But I got Francisco Lindor at the number 2 middle infielder. I would say he's the best shortstop, and then Ketel Marte is the best second baseman. These two guys I think will be the best throughout the remainder of the game cycle. We could see, a really good Gunnar Henderson, but I don't think he's going to compete with Francisco Lindor. Now we're getting into some third basemen. Gary Sheffield starting us off with third baseman. Then we got Brooks Lee. I have used that Brooks Lee card at third. He gets some weird animations, but he's just that much of a bat, and I think he's got to be in the lineup. I would put Scott Rowland at number 5, Junior Caminero at number 4. To me, this card's going to be pretty bad at third base defensively, but he's going to make up for it with the bat. We got Corey Seager at number 3. I think this card is still one of the best cards in the entire game. We got Chipper Jones at number 2. I think this card is a little bit better at third base because he plays that as a primary over Corey Seager. But I don't know. If you're looking for a switch hitter, Chipper Jones is probably your guy. But Corey Seager is also very, very good. Jose Ramirez, number 1 third baseman. Even though I am using Corey Seager right now, I still think Jose Ramirez is probably like the community's favorite player there. Now we're getting into some outfielders. We got Bryce Harper, Byron Buxton, Pete Crow Armstrong. Not that many outfielders on the list. I went with guys that I would say I would really use out there predominantly for an all-around type of player. But I think the best outfield in terms of the entire game is Mickey Mantle in right field, Ted Williams in left field, and Carlos Beltran in center field. And then you want to have Pete Crow Armstrong on the bench to replace Mickey Mantle late in the game. You could also move Carlos Beltran to right field for that -5 on the defense, and then have Pete Crow with 99 reaction, 99 fielding, and 99 speed in center field. That's kind of what I do. But now we're getting into some pitchers. We got Pedro Martinez at number 13, Jacob Mizorowski at number 12. We do have some finesse pitchers in here as well, right? Pitching in this game is pretty much entirely up to the opponent that you're playing. Some of these pitchers would be better against certain players. Some of these pitchers would not be as effective against other players. Let's say, for example, you're playing on All-Star difficulty. I would not want to use Greg Maddux or Roy Halladay. If I'm playing on All-Star difficulty, I'm 100% going into the game with an outlier pitcher. And that's just to help the swing timing and the timing windows because I'm playing on a lower difficulty. If I'm playing on Hall of Fame, then I'm most likely going into the game with an outlier pitcher. But I might use someone like Al Leiter. I might use someone that has more control. But I probably wouldn't use Roy Halladay or Greg Maddux. If I'm going into a game on Legend, then Greg Maddux or Roy Halladay is probably going to be more effective. But you can't really go wrong with, Clayton Kershaw or Roger Clemens on any of those difficulties. So that's why they are the best pitchers in my opinion. I do think Randy Johnson, when he gets another card, he will surpass Roger Clemens as the best pitcher in the entire game. Now we have relief pitchers. At number 14, I really like Matt Strom's slider. At number 13, I like Devin Williams' screwball. And then some of these other guys, I really like just kind of their all-around pitch mix. And I think they could be effective versus certain players, right? That Robleski guy doesn't really have the most dominant pitches, but he is able to throw a little bit deeper into the game, like 30 good pitches in relief. Some of these other guys I haven't used a ton, but I would just kind of rank them here because they're similar to other players. Like this Evan Phillips is very similar to Blake Trinan, but he has, I would say, just a little bit better attributes and pretty similar card. Can't go wrong with either one. I think bullpen is pretty important in this game. However, in the ranked seasons games that I play, most of the time I don't use my bullpen, but I think it is good to have solid relievers just in case, because as the game goes on, the ultimate goal is to try and figure out what your opponent is good at, what your opponent's weaknesses are, and then use your bullpen to kind of attack those and finish off the game to get the victory, right? So I think Darren O'Day is the number one guy. Aroldis Chapman is probably my go-to reliever, though. Now we got some DH players. Jock Peterson was kind of ahead of his time there with that moonshot card. Really solid DH, kind of competes with the home run derby cards. We got Junior Caminero, Byron Buxton, Juan Soto. These are just guys that I wouldn't really want to use out there in the field, but players that would probably want to be in the lineup because they're that good of hitters. I think Kyle Schwarber is the best DH in the game, but if you're using the 92 overall Kyle Schwarber at catcher, that's also a really good option. Then maybe you just put like Juan Soto or something as your DH. Right now, this is my setup. I might move Chipper Jones and Corey Seager, might flip-flop those guys. It just depends. Corey Seager's been good at third base for me, so has Chipper Jones. But that's really going to do it for this video. I'm College Lefty, and let me know what you think about the rankings. Some people will disagree, some people will agree, and I'm sure everybody has their own favorite players. Until next time, peace out.